With the newly forged blade cooled slowly in the vermiculite overnight, I moved to profiling the blade on the grinder. I primarily use a Bader B3 belt grinder and have a number of arm and wheel attachments. The different attachments allow me to shape my spine and handle ergonomics with greater ease and speed. Once all the lines have been cleaned up and defined, the blade will be in its final shape. Now the carbon scale that developed on the blade during the forging is ground off. I start this process using a new 36 grit belt. The style of knife that I'm making determines how much of the forging scale is removed. In the case of this Deimos model, I leave a bit of the scale on in the ricasso and along the upper spine. For the high planes buoy, I'll be grinding off all of the carbon scale. Typically I rough grind most blades with a 36 grit belt, and then cover those grit marks with a 60 grit belt. Sometimes I may just run a 36 grit belt and then move directly to hand sanding depending on the knife. I take advantage of the soft steel and do a fair bit of my hand sanding prior to heat treating and hardening the blade. I'll often start with a flap wheel to get the grit marks going in the correct direction, then move to sanding using a wood block or micarta bar to provide some rigidity. At this stage I'm smoothing out the blade and cleaning up the grit lines. The final sanding and finishing of the blade will be done after it's been heat treated, but usually I sand up to 220 grit before the heat treat. For hidden tang blades, I'll file and accent the shoulders so that later on the guard and handle fit snugly to the blade with no gaps. Now the blade is ready for heat treating.